Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh inaugurated the Regional Marine Pollution Response Centre at Indian Coast Guard Regional Headquarters in Chennai last week. The Regional Marine Response Centre will facilitate coordination among countries within a region, ensuring a unified approach to oil spill response. It can mobilize a more effective response to oil spills and provide access to specialized equipment, trained personnel, and technological innovations that might be beyond the capability of individual countries. It will support the development and implementation of regional oil spill contingency plans. The center enhances information sharing among the countries and promotes transparency and cooperation. The Level 1 and Level 2 training of 20 foreign personnel from ASEAN countries have started for a duration of 2 weeks. The minister also inaugurated the Indian Coast Guard Air Enclave Puducherry. It is strategically located between Chennai and Karaikal. This will extend the surveillance reach across the vital maritime region, enhancing the ability to monitor and secure extensive sea lanes that are critical for regional trade and security. The Air Enclave will provide specialized training for personnel that will enhance their proficiency and readiness to handle various maritime challenges. A memorandum of understanding was signed between Indian company Petronet LNG Limited and Sri Lanka-based private company for infrastructure development and supply of liquefied natural gas in Colombo. Sri Lanka's Minister for Power and Energy, Kanchana Vijayasekara, and Deputy High Commissioner of India, Dr. Satyanjal Pandey, witnessed the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding. The agreement will give a major boost to the island nation's effort towards sustainable energy generation. The Memorandum of Understanding would allow for development of LNG-based power plant with a capacity of over 1000 megawatts at Kerawalapitia near Colombo, as well as supply for a fuel from Kochi LNG terminal. Speaking at the event, Mr. Vijayasekara thanked the Indian government for the support it extended Sri Lanka during the crisis. He added that the MOU would also provide for use of LNG as a fuel in households and other domestic requirements. India and Japan reviewed bilateral cooperation during the 2+2 ministerial dialogue in New Delhi last week. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, Japanese Minister of Defense Kaira Minoru, and Minister for Foreign Affairs Mr. Yoko Kamikawa took part in the meeting. During the meeting, the ministers explored new initiatives to further strengthen the engagements between the two countries. They also exchanged views on the regional and global issues of mutual interest. In his press statement, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said, extensive and productive views were shared in the meeting on defense and security. He said, there is a future complexity and volatility in the Indo-Pacific region and the world at large. He said, today's 2+2 dialogue was an occasion to share assessment and agree on cooperation in this regards. Dr. Jaishankar announced that India will open a consulate in Fukuoka to nurture people-to-people ties between the two countries. He said India and Japan are resolute in their opposition to terrorism, including cross-border terrorism. India has also called on Japan to remove regulatory bottlenecks that exist in the sharing of critical technologies. United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Jerusalem. Blinken is on a 3-day visit to Egypt and Israel to continue US diplomatic effort to conclude the agreement for a ceasefire. The visit is focused on the release of hostages and detainees through the bridging proposal presented by the United States. With support from Egypt and Qatar, earlier in the day, Blinken met Israeli President Isaac Herzog. Meanwhile, Hamas has criticized the new ceasefire proposal for Gaza presented in Doha last week. The group claimed the proposal aligned with Netanyahu's demands, including rejecting a permanent ceasefire and setting a new condition on the prisoner exchange. which Hamas said hindered the deal's completion. India's designated authority for cross-border trade has approved an additional 251 megawatt of power exports from 12 hydropower projects in Nepal. For the first time, Nepal would be exporting power to Bihar through a medium-term power sale agreement. This takes the total allowed quantum from 690 megawatts from 16 projects to 941 megawatts from 28 projects. Even before this 251 megawatt approval, Nepal had already become a net exporter of electricity and net revenue generated in the last fiscal year, selling 16.93 billion Nepalese rupees worth of electricity. India has also opened the provision of counting hydropower imports from Nepal as part of hydropower purchase obligation, that is HPO, for buyers in India, which further incentivizes buyers to purchase power from Nepal. The agreement for long-term power between India and Nepal envisages the sale of up to 10,000 megawatt of power from Nepal to India in the next 10 years. With these developments, Nepal is on track to become the leading hydropower exporter of the South Asia region. An agreement for the sale of 40 megawatt of power to Bangladesh has also been finalized and was planned to be signed on 28th of July but got postponed due to recent political developments in Bangladesh. India and Malaysia have signed agreements in the field of labor and employment, Ayurveda and traditional medicines, digital technologies, culture, tourism, and cooperation in youth and sports. The two countries also inked agreements in the area of public administration, governance reforms, and mutual cooperation. The agreements were signed after delegation level talks between Prime Minister Modi and his Malaysian counterpart, Dato Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, in New Delhi. Both sides have also discussed new possibilities of mutual cooperation in defense sector. India and Malaysia are also unanimous in the fight against terrorism and extremism. The Prime Minister said Malaysia is an important partner of India in ASEAN and the Indo-Pacific region. He said India gives priority to Asian countries. Mr. Modi said both sides agreed that the review of free trade agreement between India and ASEAN should be completed in a timely manner. He said India will extend full support to Malaysia's successful ASEAN chairmanship in 2025. Russia and Azerbaijan have signed 7 documents during the Russian President Vladimir Putin's 2-day visit to Azerbaijan. According to media reports, President and his counterpart Ilham Aliyev signed a joint statement in Baku to further solidify the relationship between the two nations. Speaking after the talks with Azerbaijani President, Putin emphasized Russia's role in facilitating a peace agreement based on the trilateral accords reached in 2020 and 2022 by the leaders of Russia, Azerbaijan, and Armenia. He said the three nations are prepared to assist in the delimitation and demarcation of the border, utilizing relevant Soviet era documents, as well as unblocking cross border routes and establishing humanitarian contacts. Amid ongoing crises, including the situation in Ukraine, Putin underscored Russia's historical involvement in the South Caucasus and its commitment to participating in these efforts. United States and South Korea kicked off a large-scale military joint exercise aimed at strengthening their combined defense capabilities and deterring threats from North Korea. The annual Ulchi Freedom Shield exercise comes amidst heightened tension on the Korean peninsula. The exercise will see more than 200 South Korean and US fighter jets fly around the clock for 5 days this week. The US stationed 2000 The United States stationed 28,500 troops in the south for combined defense against North Korea. Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrapped up his historic visit to Poland after holding meetings with his Polish counterpart Donald Tusk and President Andrzej Sebastian Duda in Warsaw Lost. Mr. Modi described his visit to Poland as a special one and called this Central European nation India's valued friend. In a social media post, PM said this visit gave an opportunity to deepen cooperation with a valued friend. Mr. Tusk, on the other hand, termed it as a great privilege to host Prime Minister Modi on the eve of 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relationship between two countries. Prime Minister Modi also invited the companies from Poland to join in Make in India, Make for the World initiative. Both countries decided to transform the bilateral relationship into a strategic partnership during his landmark Warsaw visit. Prime Minister and Polish President Andrzej Sebastian Duda held discussions on deepening the India Poland partnership across a wide range of sectors, including food, processing, artificial intelligence, energy, and infrastructure. A delegation level meeting was held between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky in Kyiv, Ukraine, on 23rd of August. During the meeting, the four memorandum of understandings were signed and exchanged in the presence of both leaders. The MOUs were signed to bolster bilateral ties in various fields, including community development projects in Ukraine, drug control standards, cultural exchange, and agriculture. Briefing the media on the Prime Minister's visit to Ukraine, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said discussions were devoted to bilateral relations, trades, economic issues, defense, pharmaceuticals, and agriculture. He said both the leaders discussed the conflict in Ukraine. Dr. Jaishankar said it is India's view that two sides need to engage with each other to find a solution. This is the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to Ukraine after the diplomatic relations between the two countries began in 1992. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has said that India is looking forward to closely working with the US across the domains of defense for capability building and an abiding technology and industrial partnership. Mr. Singh said this while interacting with the senior leader of the defense industry at a roundtable organized by the US India Strategic Partnership Forum in Washington, D.C. Mr. Singh also emphasized that India welcomes US investment and technology collaboration and is ready with the skilled human resource base, robust pro FDI and pro business ecosystem, and a large domestic market. The roundtable was attended by a large number of US defense and technology companies. The defense minister also met the US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in Washington, D.C. They deliberated on the evolving geopolitical situation and certain key regional security issues. They also discussed the ongoing defense industrial collaboration projects between India and US and potential areas where the industries of the two countries could work together. World's first mRNA lung cancer vaccine trial launched. In a historic medical advance, the world's first mRNA lung cancer vaccine trial have begun across 7 countries, including the UK and United States. Developed by BioNTech, the BNT116 vaccine targets a small cell lung cancer NSCLC by training the immune system to attack lung cancer cells. With 130 patients enrolled, this trial aims to revolutionize lung cancer treatment and reduce its recurrence. India's first reusable hybrid rocket, Rumi 1, was launched from Chennai by Space Zone India in collaboration with Martin Group. The rocket was launched using a mobile trajectory while carrying a payload of 50 Pico satellites and 3 Cube satellites. The sounding rocket flew at an altitude of about 35 kilometers and returned to Earth after conducting several experiments within seconds. Dr. Malaiswamy Annadurai, former director of ISRO Space Center who led the expedition, said that the rocket used a combination of liquid and solid fuel propellants to enhance efficiency and minimize operational costs. The United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken has approved a possible foreign military sale of an anti-submarine warfare sonobuoys and related equipment to India at an estimated cost of 52.8 million US dollars for the multi-mission MH-60R Seahawk helicopters. The Defense Security Cooperation Agency delivered the required certification notifying the US Congress of this possible sale. Biden's administration's notification stated that this deal will support Washington's foreign policy and national security objectives by helping to strengthen the bilateral strategic relationship and improving the security of a major defense partner, India. This proposed sale will strengthen the US India strategic and defense relationship. It will improve India's capability to meet current and future threats by enhancing its capability to conduct anti submarine warfare operations from its MH 60R helicopters. The Navy in March this year has commissioned its first squadron of 6 submarine hunting MH-60R Seahawk helicopters armed with Hellfire missiles, Mk-54 torpedoes, and precision kill rockets at INS Garuda in Kochi.
Well, that's all, friends, for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.